Literally, already. I just started the lesson and recording, and you're already talking.
Let's just restart. Nothing ever happened.
Sit down and be quiet. If you have a question, you can raise your hand and ask it, but you should not be having side conversations. Okay? So in 6.1 through 6.3 so far, we have talked about the 3 different types of transformations. Okay, there's translate, which means slide, reflect, which means flip, and rotate, which means turn. Okay, so we did each of those 3 types of transformations individually. What we're doing in 6.4 today is a composite transformations. Composite just means there's going to be more than one. Okay, so what I want you to write out to the side here is a reminder that what we start with, pick them up.
I'm thinking about it.
What we start with is the pre-image. Okay, then we use the prime marking, remember, to indicate that something has changed. Okay, so if we start with X, then X prime is going to be after the first transformation where the image ends up. Okay, and then since we're doing a composite, we're actually going to end up with a X double prime. So 2 little apostrophes or tick marks up there. Okay, you need the red still?
Yeah.
Okay. So you could do the X double prime is going to be the second transformed image. Okay. And so I'm color coding everything here, and I'm going to do the first piece in blue and the second piece in green. If you have 2 colors, highlighters or matte pencils or colored pens, and you want to do color coding with me, you can, or you can do it all in pencil and then borrow some highlighters and color code it later if you want. Okay. But in number 1 and in number 2, I'm going to show you 2 different methods, okay, to go about doing your transformations. Are we good with all the red? Can I scroll up off that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now, what I need you to fix on here, I didn't realize when I printed it, all of the places they have for you to put your answer say prime. See, it has X prime, Y prime, Z prime. And since we're doing 2 transformations, we actually want a double prime on these. So I want you to just add another apostrophe or tick mark to these so that it's a double prime. So X double prime, Y double prime, Z double prime. Okay. Is everybody ready to start this one, or do y'all need that purple again? Good? Okay. So the first method I'm going to show you with number 1 is graphically. Okay. So if you prefer to graph and use the points and work on your coordinate plane, this is going to be the method for you. Okay. And then on number 2, I'm going to show you a more algebraic approach where you don't have to graph. Okay. So if you don't like graphing, you'll probably like the approach we do on number 2 better. Okay, but I'm going to start with my pre-image, what I'm given. So I'm going to plot these points of the triangle, the vertices X, Y, and Z. So I went over my X and Y axis and darkened them a little because it was kind of hard to see. If you want to darken yours a little bit, you can too. Remember, this is the X axis and this is the Y axis. Okay, so when we go to plot our points, you need to know how to plot your points. Some of the questions you may have seen on the quiz and that you're going to see on the review are asking you to plot points. And so you have to be able to do that. Okay, so I'm going to label this as the y-axis down here. All right, so X is at -3. So from the origin, I go left 3, up 7. Okay, so -3, 7, that is my pre-image for X. Y is at -2, 1. And Z is at -5, 2. If plotting points, is a struggle, if that's something that you aren't great with or need more practice with, then that's what you need to be doing. You need to be practicing more, asking more questions, okay? If you don't know where they are on the grid to start with, you're definitely not going to know where they are after the transformation. Okay, so remember when we're plotting those points, we're starting at the origin, and then you go left or right along the X first, okay, based on if it's a positive or a negative, and then you go up or down for the Y. All right, so there's our pre-image. So the first step, the first transformation says that we want to reflect this across the X-axis. Okay, so I've labeled the X-axis, and I'm going to add a dashed line showing the X-axis. So this is what I'm going to reflect across. Okay, so when I say reflect, I mean flip. It's a mirror image that I'm creating where if I were to fold it along that dashed line, that line of reflection, all of the image from here should mirror below that line, shouldn't it? Okay, so graphically, the easy way to do this one is to just say, okay, if I'm going across the X, how far above the X is point Y? 1. So I'm going to go straight down back to the axis and then go down 1 so that it's the same distance, just the opposite direction. Y'all agree? Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing with Z. Z is 2 units above, so I'm going to go 2 units below. So there's Z prime, that's Y prime, and then X is 7 units above, so I'm going to go straight down and go 7 units below. So there's my X prime. So this is the triangle after the reflection across the X-axis. That part makes sense? Okay. Now step 2 says, okay, now that you've reflected it, translate it. A translation, remember, is a slide. Okay, so we've done step 1, which was a flip. Now I'm going to slide, okay? And I need to know where and how much I'm sliding. Okay, so that's what the rule over here tells us. Okay, X plus 9, Y plus 2. Remember, X is the left and right axis. So what do you think plus 9 means? What direction? To the right 9. So I'm going to go right 9, and Y plus 2, what does that mean? Up 2. So I'm going to slide each of my points right 9, up 2 from the blue triangle. Okay, so I'm going to start with the X. Okay, so I'm going to take that and I'm going to go right 9. And then
-9, would it go left?
Yes.
And then if it was -2, it'll go down.
Yes.
So if it's Y -2, it'll go down.
Yes.
Okay.
Good. Guys, can whoever's humming or whatever stop? All right, so I went right 9, up 2. So that is the new point X. And what are we going to call it? X prime prime. X double prime. Where is that? What are the coordinates of X double prime? From the origin, you have to be able to figure out the coordinates. So from the origin, that's over 6, down 5. So that's at 6, -5. So far, so good? Okay. Now you've got options. You can do the same thing with Z and Y and go over 9, up 2, over 9, up 2. Or once you have one of your points shifted, okay, I'm going to write slide. Once you have done that sliding, you need to slide the others or look at the distance from X to Z and Y and just count that distance from the new X. So for instance, to get to z from x, I could go left 2, up 5. So from my new x, I could go left 2, up 5, which would put me right here. So that would be my z double prime. And that point is at 1, 2, 3, 4, 0. And then from z to y, I could go up 1 over 3 to get to my new y, which would be y double prime. And that point is at 7, 1. So there is where your triangle ends up after a flip over the x-axis and a slide right 9 up 2. If you don't like how I measured between the x and the z and then the z and the y, you can always just come back to it and go right 9 up 2. Right 9 up 2. And that works as well. You kind of got some options there. Okay, so this is my, oops, that's supposed to be a pin, not a line. This is my final coordinate after both, after the composite transformation. Good? That's the graphing method. Okay, now the other method, which I think some of you are going to prefer over graphing, is the more algebraic method that I'm going to do in number 2. Okay, so to do a more algebraic method, you can graph the pre-image, which I've already got on here, but you don't have to. You don't have to graph anything if you're doing the algebraic method. So in the algebraic method, all you would have to do is take your original coordinates and follow the rules, okay? When I say the rules, okay, we have rules for each type of transformation. So this translation rule, whoever is doing it, stop. You are just annoying everybody and making the lesson take longer.
Doing what?
Making the noise.
Genuine.
All right. I've listed G, H, and I over here. Now the first rule is a translation, and it says x plus 7, y minus 5. So I literally just follow that rule and take my x's, and I add 7 to those, and I take my y's, and I subtract 5 from those. Okay, and you can do this in your head. You can do this in the calculator. If you need to type in -1 plus 7, type it in. If you don't need to type it in, great, do it in your head. But I'm going to take each of these x values and add 7. So -1 plus 7 is 6. And that's -1 plus 7 again. -6 plus 7 is +1. Now the y's, I'm subtracting 5. So 6 minus 5 is 1. 3 minus 5 is -2. And 6 minus 5 is 1.
Oh.
So these are the locations of G prime, H prime, I prime after just the translation. Then step 2 of the composite says now reflect it, but it's across the y-axis this time. Now, again, graphically, I could take these points and reflect them, but I also have a rule. And I've told y'all in the quiz, it was open note. You had the rules in your notes. And I told you on the test, you're going to have a formula chart as well. It's the same formula chart I posted up on the board during the quiz. So you don't have to have these memorized. You just have to be able to read what you're doing. So if it says reflect across the y-axis, you find that on the formula chart, and it's going to tell you, okay, when you reflect across the y, your x, well, actually, I'm going to write this down here for part B. You take your x, y, and the rule says that it becomes negative x, y. So essentially what's happening is nothing is changing for the y. The y stays exactly as it is. What happens to the x? Yeah, you flip the sign, you change the sign. If it was positive, it becomes negative. If it was negative, it becomes positive. Remember that negative in a rule like this just means to change the sign. So all of my x's here from the blue points are going to change sign. So this is going to be -6, -6, -1. But my y's all stay exactly the same. They do not change. So they're going to stay 1, -2, and 1. And those would be the final coordinates after this composite transformation. After you make both. If you want to do it graphically, you can. You can graph that all out, but it's not required. Okay, just out of curiosity, show of hands, who prefers it graphically? 1, 2. Okay, who prefers algebraic? A few more? Okay. So number 3, I'm only going to do one more with you. We don't have to do all of these. It's the same idea. But I am going to do one more because we haven't done a rotation yet. Okay, so I'm going to look at example number 3 with y'all, which is a rotation and a translation. Okay, I'm going to do this algebraically because the majority of you said you prefer algebraic. If you on your own notes want to do it graphically, and then just check at the end that you got the same thing as me doing it algebraically, that's totally fine. Okay, these are your notes, so put on them what's going to be helpful to you. All right, so algebraically, I'm going to list out the coordinates P, Q, R, and S. Okay, so I've got a quadrilateral this time. So P, Q, R, and S. Okay, so step 1 is a translation, and they say we're adding 4 to the X's and adding 10 to the Y's. Okay, so each of these, to get the first transformation done, I'm going to get P prime, Q prime, R prime, and S prime. So the X's, remember this is X, we're adding 4. So X plus 4. So -1 plus 4 is 3. 3 plus 4 is 7. 4 plus 4 is 8. And 0 plus 4 is 4. Now we're going to do the Y. The Y, the rule says to do Y plus 10. So we're adding 10 to those Y values. So -3 plus 10 is 7. -4 plus 10 is 6. -8 plus 10 is 2. And -7 plus 10 is 3. Okay, so those are the coordinates after the translation only. And then part B, part 2 says, okay, now we're going to do a rotation. All of your rotations are about the origin. What you need to pay attention to with a rotation is the degree. So is it 90, 180, or 270? Those are the only 3 you're going to be asked. And is it clockwise or counterclockwise? So just read 90 degrees counterclockwise and go find that on your formula chart. And your formula chart tells you for part B, it says, okay, a 90-degree counterclockwise rotation says that your XY will become -YX. So you will switch, okay, they'll switch spots, and whatever the Y value was, we change the sign, okay? The X just switches spots, we don't change the sign. Okay, so for P, it was 3, 7, so we're going to switch it to 7, 3, but we need to make the y the opposite, so it needs to be negative. Does that make sense? So for the q, we're going to switch it, so it's going to be a 6 and then a 7. Oh, but we need to make the 6 a negative. Okay, for r, we're going to switch, so it'll be -2, 8. And for the s, we'll switch and make the 3 negative, so -3, 4. So these would be the final coordinates after the composite transformation, after you make both the translation and rotation. Now, if you want to look at that graphically, you can plot those points. Okay, I'm probably going to go ahead and do that for this recording, but you don't have to. We're going to stop there. You can get out your laptops and start the practice trying this on your own. It is a Delta map. I do need y'all to keep, you can visit with each other and help each other while you're working, but I need you to keep it down because I'm going to still be finishing this recording with graphing these. Okay, so if you want to graph these, yes. I'm going to make the X and Y axis a little bit darker.
Like and subscribe.
And then I'm going to plot the original PQRS. So that's at 3, 7. After Eddie. When? Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah, anyway. All right, Q is at 3, -4. I don't know why I just put P way up there. Oh, that was the blue P. That's my pen. Okay, the original P is at -1, -3. The original Q is at 3, -4.
Hey, what are you doing? Damn near 6. I didn't want to say it.
The original R is at 4, -8. And the, yeah, it's linked in Canvas. It's a Delta mask though. The original S is at 0, -7. And I'll sketch that rhombus. Okay, so that's what we started with. That's the pre-image. Now, when you're rotating, it is. People have been doing it all day. The rotation is a harder one to do graphically if you don't understand the concept of rotation. So this might be one you kind of still want to have the rule handy and then plot the points as you do it. Because remember, each quadrant is 90 degrees. So if we're going counterclockwise 90 degrees, that's against the opposite direction that the clock would go. So it's going to end up going this way. Okay, so that's 9 rotate or turn counterclockwise 90 degrees. So it was down here, going to end up right around here. Okay, so, oh, I'm sorry, I'm translating first. Man, I keep messing up here on this one. Graphing. Okay, before we do the rotation, we got to translate first. So we're going to go. Right, or up 10. So if I take R, 1, 2, 3, 4, this goes to 3. So right 4, up 10.
We don't have access. Trader? There's access denied to today's Delta map.
Well, you'll have to wait. I'm in the middle of recording this. And other people are doing that, so I think it's a computer issue for you.
So this class.
This, it looks like something that come out of the AI.
What we will get one has Jackson to the.
So that's where your new R would be. And then remember, we talked about for the translations, you can do each point individually. Or now that you have one translated, you could do, it's not even where it should be. It's like it.
Sorry. Never. Yeah, it's not working.
It's not 10, it's 8. Go up a couple more. There we go. All right. So you can individually do that, right? 4 up 10, right 4 up 10, right 4 up 10. Or you can do the distance between them now that you have R prime plotted. So Q is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So up 4, left 1. So I'm probably gonna do that. So that's the new Q prime. And then from Q to P, it's left 4 up 1. P prime. And then to S, it's down 4, right? So there's the new F.
But it's not working. Oh, wow.
All right, so then the rotation. So now the rotate 90 degrees, each quadrant is 90 degrees, we're going counterclockwise. So counterclockwise is this way, so we're going
Yeah.
90-degree turn counterclockwise. So this is the one that I was saying, I think the rule is more helpful if you have to switch the location, like the order of your X and Y and change the Y. So it might be easier to plot the point. But so then it, is double prime is -7, 3. Prime, double prime is at -6, 7. And R double prime is at -2.
Break his leg.
And then S double prime is at -3, 4.
I'm explaining things, but.
Okay, yeah. Maybe don't.
Prime,
He doesn't want to listen.
R double prime.
Because. That's a somewhat.
You brought him up.
Q double prime.
Bigger fruits.
I'm waiting.
Okay, so then when you connect those,
But knowing the things I learned,
there you go. Preimage, translated it, the arrows, we went right
Oh my God.
up. We did a slide. And then we did a turn, clockwise 90 degrees. Okay, and that's algebraically and graphically. Okay, if you want to track 4 and 5, do you want to try 4 and 5 and do those and test it? Or if you want to watch me do them and follow along, it's a separate video and you can pull that up and get those completed as well.
Okay, so what are you talking about? Like, are you talking about?